Okay, good Sunday afternoon. Okay, so today's video, it's a topic that quite popular at the moment. Everybody talks about it, and it's always been something that, it comes off like, as a slip of the tongue to people, and not really understanding the deepness of it, and how how important it is, and how it relates it relates to the individual. Okay, so the topic, as you can see on with the title already, it's forgiveness. So the power of forgiveness. First of all, I want to talk about what forgiveness is. Okay, there is a lot of stuff out there about what forgiveness is. When people say you forgive somebody for yourself so you can have peace, what exactly does that mean? Okay, because I also was completely lost with it. Well, I didn't think I was lost at the time with the term forgiveness. I did it. It was the slip of the tongue again. I did it, and even when in 2014, 14, when I learned that forgiving somebody is for you. It's not just something that you do so God can be happy with you. It's you do it for you so you can have peace. I started dishing out forgivenesses to people. The main people I really needed to forgive in my life has always been family members, people who are directly related to me, mainly blood related to me. Nobody really outside. I've never had any massive grudge or anything towards anybody that was not directly related to me. There is nothing that I could honestly say this on camera. There is nothing that anybody who is not related to me has ever done to me that hurt me. Nobody, as far as I've been concerned, I never thought or believed that anybody has ever brought me harm or hurt me that was not directly related to me. There are people, about 5, maybe 6, under 10 people anyway, that I had in my mind that I thought harm me. And the Course in Miracles says, never teach your brother, and your brother is anything, your mom, dad, everybody, never teach your brother that they have harmed you. And this is something that I've learned last year, and it's true, because when I really deeped it, when I really looked into it, they hadn't done anything to me. And I can tell you some horror stories that you may think that no, they definitely went there. But to me, right in this moment, as I sit here on the 29th of September 2019, I can tell you that nobody has ever truly harmed me. So therefore, everybody's forgiven. And that's not something that came very lightly to me. It was a very long journey for me to get here. But, when you're seeking peace, ask and you shall be given, and that's exactly what's happened. Eventually I have surrendered to this, and peace has come to me through this. So the misconception about forgiveness was forgiving that person, and if you say you're forgiving that person, then that's the and that's what happens, you're forgiving them. Okay, but there's so many things that's around that tells you that you haven't forgiven the person. And some of those things are, you're still angry about what had happened. Every time you're reminded of the event, you want to eat the person, right? Or you still wishing that it was different. These are some of the signs that tells you that you haven't forgiven. In accepting what has happened and was meant to happen, that is how you truly forgive somebody, and that it hasn't really touched the essence of who you are. If you're still struggling with an incident that's happened to you, thinking that it had ruined your life or touched the essence of who you are, then the forgiveness hasn't happened. The importance of forgiveness is that as you forgive somebody, you automatically forgive yourself for whatever, anything that you could possibly think of. Okay, the reason why we cannot forgive people is because we cannot forgive ourselves. The reason that if we can't forgive ourselves, we can never forgive other people. If we can't forgive other people, vice versa, we can never forgive ourselves. And that is point blank, I can say, truth. Okay, you can bring any other theory around it, you will never going to completely forgive yourself for the things you have done. Your subconscious would never forgive you for what you have done for as long as you can't forgive somebody else. Same way you can never forgive somebody else when you don't know how to forgive yourself. Because at the end of the day, we are all one, okay? And when you forgive somebody, you're forgiving them because in the acts they've done to you, in the act that they've done, in the thing that you want to forgive them for, whatever they have done to you, is because they are unconscious, okay? And when I say this to people, most people tell me, well, they're not unconscious because they're not what they know exactly what they were doing. What are you talking about? They're unconscious. They knew exactly taking my man was wrong. They knew exactly stealing this was wrong. They knew exactly telling somebody about my life or whatever. They knew that all of that stuff that they did, taking my money, whatever, it was wrong. They knew that. What do you mean they weren't conscious? What that means is, and Jesus said this on the cross as well when he said, forgive them, Father, for they do not know what they're doing. What that means is that the person at the time is unconscious of what they're doing. And unconsciousness is not understanding who you are and not understanding what you are, okay, which is spiritual being, the child, the son of God. There's nothing to fear. The person is operating, acting out of fear. If you're stealing somebody's man, it's due to you thinking, well, or taking somebody's job, right? Anything that you do in expense of somebody else is because you've understood in your subconsciousness, you've understood that you're lacking something. Okay, so you're entrenched with fear, with just fear of not having, of lacking. So therefore you take, okay, therefore you act in the so-called selfish way because of that fear and that belief that you are lacking something. And because you don't have an understanding of who you are as a spiritual being, you are always going to sin in that way, okay? And it's one thing knowing that stealing and sin, whatever, it's a bad thing, but it doesn't prevent you from doing it. You're not going to be consistent in not sinning. I'm just using the word sin to make it easier. You're not going to be consistent in not doing bad things, terrible things to people, if you do not understand, if you don't have the deeper understanding that there is no need for you to do it. Okay, if you don't have a job and you got offered the opportunity to to snitch on somebody, or not even so much snitch, but to set somebody up so that then you can get their position, it's because the understanding is that you're lacking. Yeah, you may not have that job, but you're never lacking because you're part of the universe, you're part of all of this, you know, everything belongs to you. If you are thinking about, you know, trying to overpower someone, trying to control somebody, how you want the person to behave by manipulating and doing things, it's because you understand yourself as lacking control, lacking whatever it is that your mind that has interpreted it to be, but it's still a misunderstanding of the situation. You've misunderstood yourself and the circumstance. Have that atonement for that person, it automatically have the same atonement for yourself. Same way, if you've done something to somebody, you have to understand the mindset. You have to understand the mindset to which you done it. The mindset where you were at the time. The fear. Because at the end of the day, when somebody does something to you, when you do something, when anybody does anything bad, it's all, before they do it, I don't believe there's anybody bad out there. Everybody has a conscience that tells them this is terrible. Before anybody, you could think of the worst people in the world. Whenever somebody wants to do something, their mind, the brain is so quick, the mind would come up with the quickest excuse for it, the easiest reason to justify that action, so that it allows their conscience to go ahead with the deed. The justification could be like, well, I don't have this, or this could be my chance for happiness, or this could be this, and whatever you do with the mindset of fear, it's the wrong decision. Anything that you do, if you do it under fear, and fear is thinking that you are lacking, thinking that because you are lacking, you have to do this, and that is a deed, that is action out of fear. Okay, whatever decision you make under that mindset, it is the wrong decision. Get that? Okay, so atonement, offering atonement to yourself. As I said before, you can never atonement, offering atonement to yourself. As I said before, you can never ever forgive yourself if you can't forgive somebody else. And in forgiving yourself is understanding that whatever you did, at the time you did it, you didn't understand what you were doing. You got it wrong. You misinterpreted the situation. Yes, you may have known this was wrong, but you didn't understand that there was no need to do that. You didn't understand because your mind convinced you that, your carnal mind convinced you that it was necessary for you to do that, to gain whatever it is that you felt that you were lacking, whether it's respect, money, love, whatever that was. Your mind had convinced you, or to protect yourself even, your mind had convinced you that that was the right thing for you to do, because apparently you were in danger of being hurt or of lacking. Once you understand that you made a decision in a carnal mind, then all is forgiven, because that's how God operates. God does not see that you have done anything wrong. God does see that you've misunderstood the situation. But with the human mind, the way that society is set up, the way that the system, the mindset of society is that you live down that guilt forever. You can never forgive yourself, and people say it easily. I hear it all the time. Oh my God, I could never forgive myself for that, or I could never forgive them for that. People say it so easy, as if there's such thing in this world that is unforgivable. And I'm here to tell you, there's nothing in this world that is unforgivable. If you are having nightmares about a situation that you had done, or about just guilt, if you're having nightmares, or if you're having visions, or hallucinating, certain people hallucinate bad things happening to them or something because they've done something bad. That is purely, we are all one. So therefore, if you're having bad dreams about something that you have done, that is you. That is not that a ghost. If you ever killed somebody, that's not the ghost coming to you. Yes, it's appearing in that form because your mind has not forgiven you, because your conscious is still holding that as you are guilty. Until you clean yourself with full forgiveness of yourself, then it would disappear. And when you fully forgive yourself for doing, I don't know, let's say for stealing somebody's man or something, or for stealing somebody's money, and you have fully understood that I was under a complete different mind and I got it wrong. I thought I was lacking, but now I know that I'm not lacking. Automatically, you're not going to. Now I know that I'm not lacking. Automatically, you're not going to reoffend. You're not going to commit the same thing again, right? Because at least if you do, at least the following time, you'd commit it with the mind, with the awareness that you're not lacking anything. At least you'd have that awareness that I'm not of lack of anything. So you might still go ahead and do it, but it diffuses the situation even more. You may not even do it because you think I'm not like, but then it diffuses it a lot to the point where it has to leave you eventually. There's no way you're going to carry on committing crime for years to come if you have that knowledge. There's no way. Or doing somebody wrong, or stealing from somebody, or hurting another human being, if you have that knowledge that you lack nothing, you're complete. You don't need false power, you don't need to control people, you don't need to have what you think you don't have, or you don't need to take it from another person in that way. There is no way that once you have that understanding that I am complete from the point of creation, right? Once you have that, there's no way that it's impossible to have that wisdom and to sin. Lost my train of thought. So in forgiveness is not as simple as, forgiveness is not as simple as I've forgiven that person. If you still hold grudge, anger, resentment, and wishing that something never happened, that thing never happened, wishing that it was different, then you haven't forgiven that person. You haven't truly forgiven that person. And when you don't forgive the other person, when you don't forgive somebody, just know that you will never ever be able to forgive yourself with that mindset. There is no way you will never, because everybody's innocent. Everybody's essentially innocent. Okay? Those who do wrong, when we do wrong, is due to the fact that we're acting out of the carnal mind. Anyway, have a blessed Sunday, and comment below if you have any question about this. See you later.